This is being described immediately now as a big win for advocates of gay rights and a big win for supporters of same-sex marriage. This is a 5-4 decision. It narrowly divided this court, just as this issue has narrowly divided society. It's written by the swing justice, moderate Justice Anthony Kennedy, who has joined with the 4 liberal justices to rule that part of the Federal Defense of Marriage Act is unconstitutional.
It appears, Bill, that they have struck down the portion of DOMA which would ban same-sex couples from getting the same benefits as traditionally married couples. I'll read you a little bit of this opinion authored by Justice Kennedy. He said DOMA divests married same-sex couples of the duties and responsibilities that are an essential part of married life and that they in most cases would be honored to accept were DOMA not enforced.
All right, folks, welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Steve Malzberg Show. That was Jan Crawford on CBS and then Shannon Breen on Fox announcing the court's decision earlier today. Joining us right now to talk about this is Congressman Rush Holt, Democrat, New Jersey, who is also seeking the Democratic nomination to run for the U.S. Senate seat vacated by the death of Senator Frank Lautenberg. Hello, Congressman. How are you, sir?
Steve, good to be with you again. Maybe I'm becoming the regular liberal on your program.
We have several liberals, but it's always a pleasure to speak to you because among other things, I may never know when I need a Jeopardy tip, and I may never know when an asteroid is coming.
Well, please phrase your question. Your response is in the form of a question.
No, but obviously we call on you for so many other things. So I'm only kidding around with you. But all right, so your take on today's decisions.
Well, I mean, it's an important step for America's history of extending civil rights to all of our citizens. It is a big deal in civil rights, and I'm really overjoyed that the court has struck down DOMA. I guess it's sad, in a sense, that the U.S. Congress made this decision necessary. Nevertheless,
Bill Clinton actually. Bill Clinton also, he signed it.
That's true. That's true. But Congress should have, long ago. But I mean, if it wasn't apparent to people then, and I was talking with my friend John Lewis, who is a hero of civil rights in America, and he was so proud that back then he knew that DOMA was wrong, and he spoke out against it then, saying this was part of the frontier of civil rights now. But if it wasn't apparent to people then, Congress should have repealed it, long before now. Nevertheless, in a way, this is better because DOMA is dead. I mean, it won't rise again, and because this is declared unconstitutional, not just bad legislation, but unconstitutional. So, I guess the court could have gone even farther and outlawed marriage discrimination completely. But I think that was more than anyone reasonably expected in this court. It would be nice to have something as historic as Brown versus Board of Education, a declaration of civil rights with respect to sexual and gender identity. But
Congressman, how could Congress have so overwhelmingly passed this just relatively short time ago? And the great and high and mighty and God of the Democratic Party, Bill Clinton, have signed it into law. And how come, you guys had control of the Congress, the Senate, the House, the White House for 2 years under Barack Obama, and you didn't overturn it.
Well, let me say, I was not a member of Congress.
No. I'm saying the Democratic.
But I take your point. And I guess what I would say is, talk to your friends and neighbors, and if you can find people who have a clear enough memory of kind of where we were some years back, like a couple of decades ago, and compare it today, where people are in their understanding of human relations. We've made progress. We really have, as a country. So anyway, the fight against discrimination will continue on other fronts. Only 12 states, with California would be 13, allow gay marriage. This, of course, DOMA means that states can't choose to ignore the marriage from another state. But I think we still face problems where it's perfectly legal in many states for employers to fire someone because she or he is gay or lesbian or transgendered, whatever. And so ENDA, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, I think is still needed.
And Congressman, let me ask you this. We're talking to Congressman Rush Holt here on the Steve Malzberg Show. And people who have a differing opinion, I mean, do you see churches losing their tax-exempt status if they don't perform gay marriages? Or catering halls owned by people who object to this on religious grounds, not renting out? Do you see that these things becoming issues?
No, I don't see that happening. And
are you willing to pass legal protections against the aforementioned to make sure it doesn't?
I don't think we need to pass. No, the protections we need are in the other direction, not on this.
There's already been examples of bakers and florists coming under attack by the government, and religious tax exemptions being threatened by churches that don't want to recognize homosexual marriages.
No, I mean what the protections we need are, what the Justice Kennedy was talking about. That every married couple has an equal chance at the duties and responsibilities, and I would add opportunities and possibilities of marriage. And those are the protections we need.
Would that apply, sir,
this goes a long way toward that.
Would that apply to a brother and a sister?
And this...
or three people? Could three people get married if they love each other? The Supreme Court is supposed to interpret the Constitution in the light of Americans. No, but Congressman, it begs the question that Sonia Sotomayor herself brought up on the court during the oral arguments.
America's principles and values, and America's principles and values.
They're supposed to interpret our principles and values, or interpret the law and judge accordingly.
The Constitution is.
Who is Justice Kennedy to interpret my values?
The Constitution is the expression of America's principles and values, and the reason we have a Supreme Court is because it is not all perfectly clear in writing in the Constitution. It requires interpretation. That's why we have a court.
All right. Well, should a brother and sister, two people, be given equal protection under the law under this DOMA decision?
No. That's not what this decision says.
Why? Why not? How could you say no if they love each other?
We're talking about marriage. We're not talking about. Well,
marriage has always been between a man and a woman. We're redefining marriage, Congressman.
Anyway,
But Congressman, what about polygamy? What about three people?
That is not what this decision.
So, are you against polygamy? If there was a case before the Supreme Court saying three people should have the right to marry, what would you say?
I would say the Supreme Court would not.
No. What would you say? What would you want to happen?
I would applaud the Supreme Court for not ruling that way.
So you're against polygamy, against a brother and a sister, but two women and two men are okay.
I'm not going to get into that game with you.
Well, it's not a game. It's a slippery slope.
It is.
Justice Sonia Sotomayor brought this up in the oral arguments. She said, "Where do you draw the line?" I'm not making this up.
It is not required that a couple certify that they are going to have children in order to get a marriage.
Right.
You don't have to do that, right? Why don't you have to do that? Because it is in keeping with Americans' values, and that's what the Supreme Court is talking about here. But let me go on to say that we still need to do other things. There is still harassment of kids in college and elsewhere. I'm the author of legislation, the Tyler Clemente anti-harassment bill, which would require that universities have policies on this. It doesn't outlaw bigotry. You can't outlaw bigotry. You know, as Martin Luther King said, you can't change a person's heart by law, but you can restrain the heartless. And, you know, Tyler, it's named after Tyler Clemente. You may remember.
Absolutely. Congressman, we're up against a hard break, but I do appreciate your time. I do appreciate you coming on.
Remind your callers, Tyler Clemente killed himself because he couldn't withstand the harassment. And so universities should have policies